Good morning. This is a blog on mastery. What is mastery? I started the journey to inner self in 2006. It's been 13 years. And since the age of 5 years, I was looking for the space and the thought awareness, getting whatever I could. But the only thing was, I was an unguided missile hitting on right targets. So, what is mastery? The conscious is the rational thinking or the logic, and the unconscious is the intuition. The access or the path to the unconscious, when we are aware, when we have access to the unconscious, it is called as intuition. Much has been said in the world by the mystics, by the spiritual leaders about the inner journey. Inner journey is a very good thing. They say the inner self reflects the outer world. But the point is, the inner journey will enlighten you with the access to the subconscious, that is the intuition. When we are intuitive, when we become aware of the inner self, we tend to shy away from the world. And when we tend to shy away, we either become a form of mystic, or we go all alone into ourselves. This is not mastery. The true mastery is when we have reached the path of intuition, the access to the subconscious. And then we need to be aware of the not only the thought, because thought awareness is intuition, the awareness of the subconscious, but the space awareness is called as logic. So the combination of logic or rational thinking and the intuition, twofold, will consist of mastery. Our brain developed over millions of years, and there are two things which are more important: the visual stimulus or the visual perceptions, and the social context and the social perceptions. When we talk of the inner journey, it is inner self, but when we talk of the logic or the rational thinking or the reality, when we from intuition we combine, when we are in intuition, we sometimes or almost all the times lose contact with the reality. But when we combine the intuition with the logical thinking, we tend to come into the real world of reality. So by social contacts or by forming groups, our ancestors gradually evolved and our brain evolved, and what we are present is the stage of evolution that we are in. The social contacts, the adaptation, the tolerance, the adaptability tells us what to do by the logic, by the culture, and by the reality. So when we are in the intuitive phase, we tend to come out by making social contacts. But the important thing is the social contacts and the intuition. So there are three stages of mastery. First is apprenticeship, the second is practice, and the third is mastery itself. Apprenticeship can be imitation. When we imitate, the scientific data today tells us that when we imitate, there are mirror neurons in the brain, which were initially studied in primates or the monkeys, but then they were gradually discovered in 1990s in humans. What we called as mirroring is that if we see somebody in anger, we tend to get angry feelings inside us, or we tend to react. When we see happiness or smiles, we tend to smile. This is called as mirroring in psychology. So one should be very aware of the mirroring and not let the negative mirroring affect ourselves. So it has been seen that imitation or apprenticeship, then the practice, and then the mastery itself. So when we imitate or when we see somebody doing a task, the motor neurons that have been studied in our brain tells us that we can have the same feeling of pleasure or agony or angerness which the other person is performing. This is called as mirroring, or this is done by our mirror neurons in our cerebral cortex. To further this study, it was seen that actually when you have the pathway or the access to the subconscious, which is intuition, and when you have the logic, rational thinking combined with it, you can actually have access to other people's minds, even when they are just thinking and have not performed the actual act by the help of the mirror neurons. So when we imitate and then when we practice gradually with a balance of rational thinking and intuition, the inner journey as well as the outer journey, inner journey by self, solitude, and outer journey by social contacts, by hit and trial, practice, adaptation, culture, realities, facing the realities, and the truth will unfold on you at times when you don't expect it. This is called as combination of intuition and logic. When we combine intuition and logic, we have a power of focus or power of attention. The distractions will tend to distract you. Either they can be social contacts, useless distractions, inner distractions, thoughts, or other things. So when we actually focus on the power of attention or focus and we are aware of the distractions, and by combination of intuition and the rational thinking, we reach a stage of mastery which is self-control and control of the others.